probably. So the book is fantastic and it has a lot of information, but what I want you to do is walk out of here with just at least one thing of value that you're like, okay, maybe I didn't think about it that way, or I didn't know it before I came in. Y'all should know my name because it's on the flyer, but I'm Shana Taker, and
I'm sorry, I was going to introduce you.
Oh, you're totally good. You're good. I'm good at talking myself. You're fine. A little bit about me is I have a team in Georgia. I moved to Ohio about 3 years ago. I do sell in Ohio. I live in Cincinnati, so I buy and sell down there a little bit, not a whole lot, because I spend most of my days coaching, teaching, and one of the owners of Cyberbackers, along with Living Statistics. And so I spend my days building out that business as well. So I have run a business through the Shift. I ran a commercial construction company in Atlanta, and we were at 43 employees in 2008, and we had to survive, and I had 3 kids at the time, and I learned all the things that you could do wrong, and I didn't take a paycheck for 6 months in order to not lay off an employee, and so I did some things right there. The company is still thriving. I sold it about 4 years ago. Thankfully, I'm not going to have to go through it again. But one of the things that I found through that is that I have a passion for teaching, and that this is a little bit of knowledge that I can share. So this is actually a class that I took from the book. I also coach full time, so I hear a lot of agents and what they're doing. And so a lot of it is strategies that I hear through agents and from other markets. And that's where I think hopefully it'll be a little bit more interesting for you to not just get something straight from the book. You can always go and read that. You can listen to it. I think you should on Audible, participate in book clubs, and you'll get a lot out of it. But I want you to kind of dive in here, stop me, ask questions. Let's talk about it because I condensed a lot of material into an hour.
So Becca is actually really good that I think the office should get more about that. So I got
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to answer any questions on cyberbackers after class. If anybody has any questions, I flyers and all that because it's what pays for me to be here. So, but that's not what the class is about. And so thank you. I appreciate it. I might get an endorsement from you later on something else. So again, I'm a really casual speaker too. So I'll grab the table and I'll be walking back and forth to the microphone and the mouse. If I'm ever not on a slide that doesn't match and we go off on a tangent, remind me to turn the slide and to go to the next one. So it'll take me a minute. There are more slides here than an hour of slides. So I do have a sign-up sheet and I will send you this. So everything I tell you today, I have in notes on the bottom of my slides. So I cheat and I have them in notes on the printout of the slide. So I will send you these slides, okay? So you have all the notes because there's data and statistics and things you can share with your clients and things like that. If you want them, I also have to give to you market expert strategies. There's like 7 strategies here for buyers and sellers. There's lead generation strategies. There's shift scripts specifically. So I know that's something that some of you guys might need. Shift closings, how to close a client in a shift. All of that's a little bit different. So I'll send all of this to you guys if you want it, along with the slides and the notes. What is mine is yours. Feel free to take my logo off and put your logo on. I don't care. It does not hurt my feelings. Nothing is copyrighted. And so feel free to use it. I'll pass this around. If you want it, I'll grab it at the end of the class. And then my cyberbacker sends it all out for me tomorrow. And so they'll send it out to you today or tomorrow. So we've gone through a little bit about me. Let's get the slides going.
She's also a new grandma.
I am a new grandma. I'll also talk about that after class all you want to. Yes, I have a 3-month-old grandbaby. It's a fun time. So how many people agree that we're in a shift? Is there anybody that thinks that we haven't gotten there yet? I think like the last 2 months, do you guys feel like the last 2 months have like made it really clear? We've been saying it forever and ever and ever. And like all of a sudden it's like, ooh, that's what you're thinking. Well, that's how I feel about the shift book. Dalen knows this. Y'all have been in business for a long time now. We've been reading this book forever and saying, oh, the shift is coming, the shift is coming, the shift is coming. And kind of like last year, we were like, when's it ever going to come? Well, guess what? You read that book now, and it's like, that's exactly what they said was going to happen. And it's just kind of crazy. So how do we know we're in a shift? I don't know if we can move this little window down. Let's see if I can. Look at that. I used to be the regional technology director. That's what you get. You get to move the Zoom window down when you get that kind of talking. Mortgage rates going up, home prices flattening a little bit. Do you guys feel the flattening right now? Still going up crazy here in Columbus? No, it's kind of everything's staying on the market just a little bit longer.
Things still sell, but not crazy offer or crazy terms.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like I've sold a couple of houses that I've actually been able to negotiate on. One of them went under asking price, miraculously at $200,000. So that's a good sign of a shift, you know, seeing days on market longer. The services you provide begin to change. Anybody changing the services you provide? You will. You're gonna start having to change the services you provide a little bit and prepare your clients a little bit differently. So like a buyer consult right now, I was like, what? Like, hey, I wanna look for a house, get pre-approved today, let's go, we gotta make an offer, you gotta make 10 offers, you gotta go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You should be sitting down with them, like beforehand, maybe even the day beforehand and going through that packet. Who has time for that? Is anybody doing a full-on buyer consult right now? Good for you, that's good, it's good. And so those kind of things are gonna become more prevalent. Your partnerships are gonna become more prevalent. You're gonna have to have strategic partnerships because home warranties are gonna become another negotiating factor. And you know, inspections are gonna become another negotiating factor again, and all that stuff is going on. So so we're gonna get our mindset right, and specifically lead generation. So those of you who have been in the market, what are the top 2 tactics for dealing with the shift? Anybody know? You read like 7 in the shift book that are really, really strong. Anybody know what the top 2 are? I'll write it up here.
We need to read the book again.
That's true, Tracy.
Expenses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cut your expenses, okay? And lead generation. Now, lead generation doesn't sound new, does it? And I swear I teach this to every class. I teach lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. We're gonna stop talking about lead generation. What makes it different in a shift is you actually have to do it. And by that, it means you don't just get to post you're just sold on Facebook anymore. It means you actually have to make the phone calls every day, and you have to go door knocking again, and you have to go do cold calling again, and you have to be your brand. You have to be your brand, and you have to double down on lead generation. So we're gonna talk a lot more about lead generation today, and not anything about expenses, because I think that's pretty straightforward. So if it isn't making money, you need to stop spending the money. If it isn't making you money, stop spending the money. If it is something you can do today yourself, and it's not freeing you up to make more money, which is leverage. If the leverage is going to allow you to make more lead generation phone calls, please use your leverage. If the leverage is going to allow you more time to drink your coffee, please cut your expenses. It has to be tied straight to your revenue. And we've gotten into these convenience things of, okay, we have this little $30 expense that can post on social media, and this $10 thing that can do this for me. Like, cut it today, because it's going to catch up to you. So the day of convenience needs to end, and we have to go back to old school lead generation and get in that mindset of what did we do 17 years ago? How many of you practiced scripts and sat down and cold called and called expireds and called FSBOs and all of those kind of things? That's where we're going back to that market. So start thinking about that, because now is the time you can gain market share. So this is the time that the agents that are doing the heavy lead generation can actually gain ground. But the only way you're going to gain ground is if you're doing it better and more often than everybody else around you. You guys know how many agents left the market in the last shift?
We went in Columbus from 7,000 down to 4,000, so
Yeah.
3,000.
That's about right. About a third of the agents in the market at the beginning of the shift left by the end of the shift. That's crazy. That third wasn't sitting in a classroom. So education is really important, because you're wanting to get better, you're wanting to know how to fight, and you're wanting to know how to get through the hurdles, and so like there's a good chance that the majority of this classroom will still be there. Did I not hit record?
No, it's recording.
Okay, good. Sorry.
It's okay, she just can't see anything. Are you sharing your screen? I apologize for interrupting.
No, you're totally fine. I don't know if I'm sharing this thing. I didn't accept that. I have no idea, but thank you for jumping in. And I always forget that we're on Zoom too. So you got it. Okay, so we got to get our mindset around that and the fear of cold calling, fear of door knocking, the fear of any of those things that we don't know how to do, it's time to learn how to do them. And know that that is actually going to grow you. It's going to grow you in market share, it's going to grow you as a person, but it is scary. How many people want to go door knock?
I love that.
I love hearing people that want to door knock, but you are a rarity. Why do you love it?
I do good with face to face. I can see if they have any concern and addresses exactly right at the moment.
That's good. What is your fear of door knocking?
Oh, well, first of all, I've never done it before.
Right.
So it'd be first time.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
Well, neither of most people. So the good news is you should be one of the only people out there. So if you do it now, you're ahead of everybody else. So, because everybody stopped doing it, because the agents didn't have to do it. They stopped. They haven't had to make phone calls for a few years because their brand has sold them. But now it's getting tough. I mean, now it's getting tougher to get qualified. Sellers, I don't see them throwing their houses on the market anytime soon. I mean, that hasn't picked up. So we're getting tougher on both ends and it's getting squeezed. And so you're gonna have to get it out there. I feel like the whole back of the room is full. I don't bite, I promise. If anybody else comes in, tell them the back of the room's closed. They have to come up here. Yeah, you have to come up here, I promise. I promise. So don't confuse action with making progress or achievement though. It's not just doing them, it's about doing the right things. So how much of your time should be spent? Let me ask you this. How many of you work 40 hours a week? How many of you were lead genning for 20 hours last week? If you're not lead genning for 50% of your working hours, you're not lead genning enough for the shift. 50% of your hours should be dedicated to lead. So think about that. When we all talk about how many hours we're working, if you aren't lead genning, you aren't spending your time wisely. 50%.
We're too busy to take care of the operation. That's only a good excuse.
That's when you get leverage, right? If you're too busy taking care of your paperwork and that you can't make your phone calls, you can't write your handwritten notes, you can't interact on your social media. How many people post on social media every day? How many people go in there and comment every day? How many times do you comment a day? What's that, 5?
Average 5 to 10 times a day.
Yeah, that's, I mean, at least 10 times a day. Social media is about what?
Engagement.
Socialization. If all you're doing is throwing your crap content up, guess what? And we're also worried about how much we post on social media because we don't want to scare all of our friends and family away from us. The fact that, oh my gosh, we're a real estate agent. Guess what? They're only scared of you because all you do is share your real estate stuff and you don't interact and be social with them. Have a relationship with them and they're actually going to care about what you put on it. And they might actually say, I'm proud of you. It's a relationship business. So use your social media to be social. 100%. I would suggest 10 interactions every day with somebody who might be in your sphere of influence. 10. Every morning, get up and do 10. That's the easiest way to do that.
Happy birthday to people.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You have to grow your number of people on there. Happy birthday is a real easy one. It changes the algorithm of Facebook when you actually post on their page. So then when you post your just sold or coming soon, it actually shows up on their page. So if you just post happy birthday and it's one of the canned responses, it also does not change the algorithm. Put their name in there. Spend the 10 seconds, 2 seconds to type in happy birthday Pam. Happy birthday Dayla. I hope you have a great day. And all of a sudden your algorithm and all the people who see your stuff goes up.
What about gifts and things like that?
What about them?
When you post those on Facebook, does that help or?
Oh, the GIFs and stuff, it doesn't help your algorithms. I don't even know how it's said. You might have said it right. I don't know. I'm too old. I'm too old to even know how it's said.
You're a grandma.
I'm a grandma. That's my new pass on that. Just posting it or posting it on their page. Is that what you
Posting
mean?
on their page.
Yes,
Does
because
that
that's a
help?
unique interaction. So unique interactions on their page improve your visibility in the algorithm.
Because I'm trying to do that just because I think it gets noticed because. it's
Totally different. That's right. Texting is a great interaction as well every day. You can do that. But if you're not like having an engaging conversation, it's kind of the same as being on social media. Like you have to actually engage and think about it. So think about it as a conversation starter. So you're having a conversation. How about happy birthday, Taylor? What are you doing on your special day? Guess what happens then? She might actually reply to me and the algorithm goes up further. So end it with a question. And if you don't know them well enough to ask them, then just put their name in there. Just take the time to not put a canned response. That's really important for social media. I think we got stuff. There you go. How many of you are sharing this kind of slide? Good. This is from the Cincinnati board. Y'all have the same slide. Different, it's gonna look a little different, but it's pretty much the exact same slide. It's on like page 1. When you log into the MLS, there's gonna be a link somewhere on there. Since none of you raised your hand, I'm gonna get Rachel to figure that out and show you how to get some sort of a slide like this off your MLS board.
We do the language of real estate. It is posted on our intranet. So you guys go to the intranet and document
Yep.
section. Every month we do a language of real estate similar to this.
And then the housing report is what is on our MLS. that They can use.
Yep. You should be sharing this. And then
You should get an email from the,
talk about the bottom 3 and what it means, along with market and interest rates. You guys all said we're going into a shift. How many of you think we're in a bubble that's about to burst? Nobody. How many of your people in your sphere think there's a bubble about to burst? They all think it's about to fall out. They all think it's about to fall out. If you don't think there's a bubble about to burst, and they don't think there's a bubble about to burst, where is the in-between? You are the in-between. You are the connector of that. You are the connector of their mental health. You are the comfort person. You are the person, the steady Eddie. So you have to share this and you have to explain this information and why they shouldn't be scared. And I'll give you brownie points if you did a video on it and talked about it for 30 seconds and shared it. And I'm gonna tell you, I hate watching videos myself. I see that look like they're like, oh my God, I gotta do a video. Do a video, because guess what happens to the algorithm when you post a video? It goes up. And also, if you put this on there, and if I say to you, active inventory went up, what does that mean? There's 8% more houses on the market this month than there were last month. Why? Interest rates are going up. The inventory is sitting longer. And we talk about the median days on the market. Look, guys, don't be panicked. We're still at 3 days on the market. Like that. Oh, that's what the media is showing you. This is what I'm showing you. Don't panic. 3 days on the market. Call me. I can sell your house today. Actually, I can't. I can sell your house in 3 days. That's your video. Do you think that they're going to interact with that, or are they going to interact with that? I promise it's that. It's you, because they're connected to you. So when they're connected to you, they want to hear from you. Share this graph. These are other graphs that you can also use. Do not ever show a graph like this and not explain this graph. I mean, that's pretty scary right there. That's one, each one of those is one slide, but any one of them would be enough to put anybody into panic and overload. So that is a perfect slide for a video, and it's on your MLS. And I know you're like looking at it, and I can see your minds. You're like, but I have to understand it. You can understand it if it's in bigger, because it's just every year. So you're just like, I promise it looks a little bit more overwhelming on this slide. All right. So we've got mindset covered. We're going to talk about lead generation. We're going to talk about preparing for deals. And if we have luck, we're going to talk about the action. But probably I talk a lot, so we'll have to keep track on time. And if I run short, you're going to get the slides and all the notes. So I always do that because I do talk too much. So if I run short, you'll get up. Anybody have questions at this point about the market or thoughts on the market? About lead generation. Any of you seen this before? I hope so. I'm not going to cover it. If you notice, this is kind of at the beginning of every conversation we have like this, so I just have to show you. We're not going to cover it. But this is, I mean, it is important to know. Again, if you don't know it, please review it, go and see Jayla and Rachel, and they'll review it with you. It's the process of converting your leads. It is important to know. And time blocking, 3 hours of lead generation per day.
We're teaching it next week on Tuesday from 9 to noon.
We're teaching time blocking from
Lead
lead
generation.
generator. Okay.
Time blocking will be Monday
Amazing.
from 9 to noon.
That's amazing.
All next week, Monday through Friday, 9 to noon. We are relaunching a whole new career development that Rachel and I just rewrote.
I saw the slides in there, and you guys need to attend. So you need to attend. So do me a favor and take out your phones. Go to your contacts. And I want you to scroll all the way to the bottom of your contacts. And somebody tell me how many you have. Go all the way to the bottom of your contacts, it should give you the number of contacts you have. For most iPhones. Android is slightly different, but it's there too. I'm not an Android expert, so I'm not really great at finding it, but somebody else.
862.
862.
Who could beat me?
Who else?
1609.
Oh,
girl.
Okay.
Okay, Tom.
660.
2700.
Dayla has
So-
10,000.
What's that? It was like 10,000. Yeah.
I'm looking.
That's because your screen's too big. Your text is too big. Sorry. didn't mean to
So
cut you
if you have 1,600, I'm just gonna keep going until you find that. If you have 1,600, I will give you that probably 100 to 200 of those are junk. I personally know that I probably have 50 that are blocked. Their name is blocked. I don't, and then there's some that are do not answer, right? So they're not gonna all be good. But even if you took 10% of your database and you dismiss it, I want you to look at these conversion numbers and tell me if this is what you're getting for deals. So if you had 900, we had 800 and something, and you're 10% of your database, when properly managed, should be buying or selling in the next year. This is actually a very small number. It can get up to 20%. So when I say 10%, I'm being pretty conservative, okay? This can go up to 20% depending on how you run the numbers. I always say data is, but depends on how it's told, right? And so 10% is about the most conservative number I can give you. If your database is properly worked, 10% will be buying or selling in the next year. If you convert 50% of those potential opportunities, now let's say they have to know you're a real estate agent. They might show you out. You might have to, how many people do you think they're gonna meet with? 3? How many real estate agents do you guys think people meet with? Well, about 80% of people say they only talk to no more than 2. So being number 1, being number 2 is real important. So 80% of the people out there doing a transaction are only talking to 2 people at most. A large majority go with the first person. So if they know you're an agent and you can convert 50% of them, you should have 75 deals. So, anybody who in here did 75 deals last year? So this becomes a real important number right here. Growing the number in your database becomes really, really important. And so does making sure that that 10% knows that you're in business and spending your time lead genning. And this is what? How do we improve this number?
Practice your scripts and role play.
Script practice, role play. And then you end up with 75 opportunities. So if you want to sell 50 units, is the math not right? Oh, you're right. It's a typo.
It's 45.
45. It's a typo. Thank you. 45. Thank you. So still math's still the same. 50. You want to do 50 units times 10%. At a 50% conversion ratio.
That's right.
Check that math. Is that correct? I didn't do this slide.
Where'd you get your?
500, 250. That's all right.
500. Half of that's 250.
250.
250. That math's not right. Sorry, guys. I don't know about that one. What did you start with? I'm not sure why that one's not converting right. They may have got their,
Maybe a slide that.
got their equation wrong. Yeah, they got their equation wrong. Look at their numbers, their notes.
We'll let you slide out.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll give you a pass.
It's literally what is in the notes.
It's 1,000,
Should be,
Well, that's your problem.
should be 1,000.
should be 1,000. I think they've got those two mixed up though. Yeah, they've got this and not mixed up. Yeah, it should be 1,000. We're gonna move on since you let me slide. You still know 10% of your database. You still know you need to convert 50%.
By the way, my contacts are 4,278.
That's why you're a rock star team leader. That's why you're a rock star.
Oh, sure.
Those conversion ratios don't always apply to you, Dayla. They don't always apply to agents. Okay, what's the difference in prospect-based and marketing-based behaviors? What is prospecting, what is marketing?
That's versus habit.
Push versus pull.
Tell me what you mean by that.
So prospecting is really just to really talk to the person and really get the business from them.
Yep.
Marketing, you can put your name out there, people can call you.
Right, it's this right here, proactive and passive. So which do you think you should do?
Prospecting. But why with marketing?
50% of each. And sometimes you can do both in one transaction, in one thing. So these are your list of prospecting. When you're thinking about what I do each day, we talked about you need to spend 50% of your time lead genning, right? Phone calls, you will run through your database at some point. So my magic number for my productivity clients, my one-on-one coaching clients is 10 new contacts every day, okay? And they get real tired, they're like, I can't get 10 contacts, I'm like, you can go knock on 10 doors. Yes, you can, go knock on 10 doors if you want to do it. Or you can go to a convention and get 10 contacts, or you can go to a class and get 10 contacts. 10 new contacts a day entered into your database. Call 10 people in your database every day. Write 10 note cards and comment on social media 10 times every day. That should take about your 2 to 3 hours of lead gen time when done right. Now you can combine these two. You can do prospecting and marketing. And this does both. So is there anything on here that you're not currently doing? How many of you guys are sponsoring things? Events? Anybody sponsoring events? How many people does that get you in front of when you go to an event?
I want to make sure I'm actually involved into the community, so
Yeah.
more just like
That's
a
good.
on a sponsorship, but somebody that actually contributes to the.
Yeah. If you can actually, like, if you're gonna sponsor something, if you actually show up and participate, I mean, it's obviously much richer. But if you can get face time, you can get 100 contacts in that one time. So 10 contacts, new contacts every day, you can cover them pretty easily. So you gotta be thinking about things like that. Radio advertising, I mean, that's not for the average agent, right? And that's for a huge agent, but I don't even think we have yellow pages anymore. There's some of this stuff is gonna be, you know, you have to think to newer standards. But pay-per-click advertising, social media advertising, portals, broadcasts, direct mail. How many people are doing direct mail? Are you doing it through a service? Your conversion rate will go up if you will do it by yourself. If you will handwrite it right now, and guess what else you'll do? Now, I mean, if you're having high conversion ratios off of using a service, then that's great. If you need leverage because you're doing all your other lead generation, please use a service, or, you know, I get that. So staying top of mind is important, but how many of you want to open a handwritten card versus a computer addressed card? They will open it and they will think of you. Did I just say that? Okay. Yeah, the chat monitor. Oh, 2,500.
John Campbell is 25, they're in the
They're in the-
competition
they're
here.
back in the contacts. Well, those numbers didn't work. That's good though. Okay, you're gonna hang it out and monitor. So these over here, guys, look at here. These are old school teaching and speaking opportunities. How many of you are thinking about doing a new home event for new home buyers, first time home buyers? That's coming back. Qualifying is getting harder. I'm sure that I'm sure that you can have events in here. You thought about having a first time home buyer seminar in here and getting your lenders in here? Put it out there. I mean, that's huge. You can get in front of people, door to door canvassing, networking events. Go to some of the networking events. Join a board, join a chamber. You have to get back into the old schools. Booths, kiosks, festivals. I picked up a client at the Home and Garden Show. I did. I actually did. I was like, oh, good, why not? And I actually got a client there. I'm shocked actually, but I did. And but if you're going to go to something like that, you can't just stand in the booth, right? You have to have some interaction. And I picked them up because I had a Nest doorbell. And so I walked out and was like, hey, you want a Nest doorbell? Would you like to register? And her mom was needing to buy a house for Cabbage just passed. And they've now become friends and they're clients a couple months ago. So get out and interact. Yeah, I know. I'll get there. I just have to keep clicking on it and then like I'm getting there. So when you're connecting with people, you guys, some of you may remember this from like high school language arts. We went through like all the W's that you should ask and the H when you write a paper, who, what, when, where, why, and how. These are the questions you have. Y'all heard of the Ford model conversations? It's the same. It's just a new way of, an old way of thinking of it. Ford is the new mentality, but who are you? What do they need? Where do you need? Why do they need it? When and how do they plan to do it? Are the conversation points. A couple of ways of saying it. Thanks for sharing, if you would. These are just introductions. Can you please share? Would you be offended if I asked? One of the things that I found having the highest conversion ratio and interaction right now on social media is somebody asking for help. Asking for help. I just met with an agent who's really struggling, literally really struggling. And she asked if I'd meet with her, so I met with her. And she's like, I put it all over social media, and I pulled up her social media, and I was like, it looks like you're doing great on social media. And she was like, yeah, I mean, I'm posting what everybody else. Oh, that's what they're all posting, and they're all doing good. And I was like, how do you know they're all doing good? That's what they're posting. You look like you're doing good. That's what you're posting. I'll bet you say, I'm not doing so good. Can you guys share my page? Can you share my contact? I would so appreciate. You may not meet me, but maybe somebody you know does. So what about that? I posted that last month. I started a new business. I posted that. I said, you may not need the business. Please share, because somebody else might. It got shared 14 times in one day. 14 times on one platform, and I posted it on my page. And that's pretty incredible because that's how many times that number of people saw the share. And what does that do for my original post? It means that every single person that I'm connected with actually got to see it because it raised my algorithm so high. So when you get interaction, you get shares, it helps you as well. So ask your family, your children, your husband, your wife, your partner to not only like your things, but to share your things. And when you ask them, tell them why you're asking them. Please like please share, please comment on it. Because it means more people will actually see it. Not just your people, but my people too. But be honest with people and connect. Strategies to find the motivated and stay connected. So what this is really getting at, and this is tactic 4 of Shift, is yes, stay connected. Yes, find the motivated. But it is right now, the people you need to be working with are the class A buyers and sellers. You guys know what that means? We have A, B, and C buyers and sellers. A are ready to go. B are like, oh, I'm thinking of going in the next 3 months-ish. C are, I'm out there, I'm just looking. Vertically drifted up. all of that kind of stuff. You need to be talking to your A people. Do you guys ever know anybody who's like super successful and super focused? And there's a couple of people in real estate that I know that are like this. And when you're with them, you feel like you're like really, 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 really good friends with them. But when you're not with them, like they're off doing a million other things, and you might text them and you might not hear back from them right away. It's because they're so focused on their one thing that they're doing. That's you. You gotta be focused in the shift. You gotta be focused on A, buyers and sellers. And if they are B and Z, you need to put them on a drip campaign. You need to put them on some of your leverage. You need to put them on a smart plan. You need to connect with them on Facebook. You are looking for the motivated, the highly motivated. You only have to find out if they're highly motivated if you call them. So one way around this, I don't know if you guys have done this. Have y'all done any of the raffle giveaways in this office? So like you give away, if they call in, people call in.
A bold reverse 100.
Sort of, yeah.
We have not done that exactly because of the sweepstakes laws in Ohio and some of the other things.
So some of the offices are doing this, and I'll tell you, I've seen individual agents do it as well, I've seen groups of agents do it, and I'll tell you how it works, and this is kind of a cool way of not having to make phone calls. And I don't want to get away in this, I don't know, sweepstakes laws, I don't know. But I do know that some people are doing it, so.
It's okay as long as you do it right.
Okay, so suggesting you do this right. You opt in, any agent that opts in puts in $50. And the office or your group is gonna give away, I know one office right now is giving away $2,000 cash. On say, August 1st, we're giving away $2,000 cash. All you have to do is call me. That's it. Put it on your social media every single day for a week. You call me between 10 and 2 on August 1st. And at 5 o'clock live on Facebook Live, we're giving away $2,000 in cash. You know what they do when they call you? You sit in here together, or you sit wherever you're doing this with your cell phone, and when they call you, you say, hey, I want to enter the wrong. Okay, before I enter, you have to ask you 6 questions. Do I have your name spelled correctly? What's your address? What's your email? What's your date of birth? How long have you lived in your home? Have you thought about buying or selling? Or do you know anybody else who's thought about buying or selling? And you've just done your entire lead gen. And in those events, people are walking away with like six leads from referrals. You didn't have to call them, and they didn't have to answer the phone, they all called you. So how can you take that and make that your own? How can you take that and make that an event?
We should do it then.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be $2,000 cash. What can it be? You know, what's fun for your spirit? I mean, I know people who are like, great cake. They do a cake, you know, a big wedding cake we're gonna give away, or they do, I mean, I don't know what your thing is.
$100 gas card.
Maybe you're a $100 gas card, that's like giving away $2,000 right now. What can you give away that you can do the same thing with and generate the same amount of buzz and people call you? So think differently. Events, invite them to an event. You don't have to spend a ton of money. Call them and invite them to an event. How about a potluck? Come over for a potluck. How about come over for a game night? How about come over, I'll buy the first round and invite your lender to come to the first round. And you can do things without spending a ton of money because we want to cover our expenses, but still have people come to you. So when the fear of calling and cold calling and all that, it is all about engagement. Reach out and see how they're doing considering this. Reach out and ask them how they think the market's doing and if it's gonna be a bubble that's gonna burst. I mean, that's a conversation you can have with anybody. Hey, I was just in class, they said everybody thinks the bubble's gonna burst and we should call our people. I was just calling you, you think the bubble's gonna burst? What bubble? What bubble? Yeah. Virtual happy hours, be present, be personal. Anybody else have any other great ideas that they want to share that they're using or seeing? Did I come up with all the great ideas on the man? Wow.
I sent out a home anniversary card and gift every single day.
Great. Let me tell you what I heard in my last class. They did have a good one. So how many of you get referrals from your strategic partners? Strategic partners would be your lenders, your inspectors, your appraisers, you get some? My last class and in this class, the very small majority are getting those referrals, right? And somebody said, they never give them out actually, like they only give them to the top agents. And one of the girls in the back room was like, I've only been doing this for like a year and a half, and I get girls for mine all the time. And I was like, tell me about your relationship. And she was like, well, I don't know, I just had lunch with one of them last week, it was her birthday. And so I took her to lunch, and it was like, huh, that might be why you get a referral. Like, because she said, oh, I always send them birthday cards. How many of you are sending birthday cards to your strategic partners? I mean, how many of you are taking them out for wine happy hour, inviting them to your game nights?
I sent out on Thanksgiving though.
Those are your partners, and those are your relationship and your referrals too. And how many people do you think they talk to? And of course, they're going to hand it out to the person who's sending them a birthday card and showing up with a little whatever here and there. They're top of mind. Finding people that are ready to transact in the current state of mind with the pandemic. Focusing on finding leads, I think we kind of just covered that. Thoughts, questions, ahas, as we like to say, as a colorism for those of you who are new.
What kind of message we trying to deliver to our folks when we reach out to them? Because I think it's really important to know the statistic and the trend. So I guess the first of all, I'm gonna go back to my MLS and pull exactly the sheet that you have right now. So we have a better idea. And I mean, they always want us to have a crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so we always say we don't have one, but that what is really our advice and what is our policy for the market, how we actually correctly deliver the message.
Nobody sees the future. I mean, I think that's it. But you know, you hear people, I think I'm not gonna buy right now because I'm waiting for the market to change, and I'm waiting for that to change, and waiting for this to change. I mean, when I've talked to a couple of people, and I think I saw James Shaw did this, and you guys should watch it on Connect, Kennedy Connect. It's great. Just type in Shift. It's James Shaw and all of that. And they go through this one little conversation where he says, okay, so your option is you're not going to buy right now. So you're renting. You're not going to buy because the houses are going to go up. How much did your rent go up last year? A lot. Well, houses are supposed to go up 9 to 10% this year. Do you think your rent's going to go up more than 9 to 10%? I think it probably
Maybe
will.
more,
I think it probably will. Houses go up 9 to 10%. So if you're going to pay rent, that's going to go up 15 to 20%, or you're going to start paying for your mortgage, that's going to go up 9 to 10%, and you've now earned some equity. What do you think the smart thing to do is? Keep paying your rent. You're going to be paying 20% more next year. Or I can put you in a house that's going to go up in value by 9%, and your payment's the same, and you've now got equity.
We don't know it's gonna go up 9%.
We don't know. We don't know. All we have is forecasts. So all you can do is provide them the data to win in a shift, to win in a conversation on anybody who is scared of the market bursting. Data is your thing.
So that's a great point. I run into a lot of potential buyers that keep renting because they've heard all their lives that they need to put down 20% to avoid GMI, right?
Yeah.
So that's a couple extra $100 a month, and they're throwing away $20,000 or more on rent every year.
Yep.
I try to explain this to these potential buyers, and a lot of people can't wrap their head around it, or the fear has such a hold on them that they can't shake it. So they'd rather stay put.
Yep.
The devil that they know is better than the devil that they don't.
Yep.
So
bring in your lender, have a party, have your lender sponsor it, have a first-time home buyer seminar, have your lender sponsor it, let your lender address that for you. Your lender can talk about loan products. Your lender can talk to them about creative financing. Your lender can talk to them about new borrowing things. You can't talk about that in the same way. You should be informed. This is why you should talk to your lenders. You should time block your schedule to talk to your lenders every month, the first of the month. What has changed? There's new loan programs every single month. What arms are different? How do I address it? Give me the script. They will give you the script. Yep. Your lenders will tell you what to say to bring them to the table. Time block your time for that. But in that case, you're going to have a really good partnership with a solid lender. So that has a lot of programs. You should have a couple of lenders in your pocket. So, I mean, that's what they need. They all think it's 20% down. Well, you know, my daughter and son-in-law bought the same thing, and they just bought one for 3% down and didn't. And they were exactly the same way, had the exact same, I said, just talk to my lender, just talk to my lender. And he was like, well, I'll talk to her, but I'm not buying for less than 20%, because that's just stupid. We got to the closing and he just put 3% down. So, that was the only way he could win the offer in the house in the price point that he wanted to be in and with his finances and the features, you know, I mean, it's what they could do. And so otherwise they would be renting forever. So let's explain how long that means you're gonna be renting. Because your rent's gonna keep going up higher than anything right now.
What if the rent is gonna go down because of the shift?
The rent is only gonna go down if the market numbers change. We don't have inventory. It's not going to change. We don't have inventory for people to go buy and sell. It's not gonna change. With a surplus of inventory, rent will also go down. When home prices begin to drop, rent will begin to drop. They go together, hand in hand. There's not an overwhelming amount of apartments and rentals out there either. It's really a large part of the problem is exactly what you said. People do not understand that there are other programs out there that they can purchase with.
What if the objection would be, I want to buy a house that the value can go down 20% in the next year or two?
I mean, there's no way to see the future. I mean, there's not. I wouldn't buy a house that I thought the value could go down to 20% in the next year or two either.
That's the fear.
That's why I will find a house for you that is a good value and I will work my tail off. I would probably not say it so cleanly, but I will work my tail off to find you the right house. And I can't tell you the future. But you do know how much your rent went up last year. And do you see that changing? It's a question. Don't give them the answers. The key here is in any of these things is we're not going to give them the answer, which is what you want. But you're going to ask them the question. What do you think is going to happen to rent? Well, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen to home prices? Well, here's the data. This is what I see. I don't see any new neighborhoods being built and no new inventory. What do you think is going to happen? Do we know why the market crashed last time? And what the difference is between last time and this time? Lending. So you can talk about the differences and why it's not finished. The bubble's not going to burst. Your lender can also talk about that.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's my understanding that we have one of the largest generation in history coming of age to buy homes, right? And we don't have anywhere in the world.
Yep.
We don't have enough structures to house these human beings. So to me, if common sense tells me that that's not going to be a possibility probably for a while.
Put some numbers behind that. And that argument's really strong. How many? 46% of our population is coming of age to buy their first house.
Right.
Yeah, that changes the ballgame. And housing has gone up by 12%. Where are we going to put them?
And even here locally with Intel coming in, that's a whole other animal of itself. And I talk about that as well. It's like people talk about home prices and I say, well, Intel's moving in. What do you think is going to happen?
Does anybody know
Inventory is already bad.
Always come from curiosity and leave the question to
Right.
them to answer, because you are not going to answer it for them, because it is fear. The only way you will satisfy their fears is to give them data. Nothing else, not your opinion, not a pretty story, nothing else is going to satisfy their fear but numbers and data. And so you have to know, obviously, if like you're meeting with an engineer or an architect or something, you better have some graphs. That second set of graphs up there, man, you can show them that all day long, they'll explain it to you. But even those that are not of that analytical mindset, they might come from the emotional side, and you have to still help settle their fears. And that is where you have to be able to talk through the data in a way that they can understand.
Normally, my answer to that too would be when you buy a home to live in, it's an ownership, and you live in that home for long term, and real estate always go up historically. But sometimes people still fear, but I just have put them in a script and move on.
Well, and that's the thing, like you can't, I mean, when we talk about things like, how do I tell them if they want to move in a year or two, it's okay, I can't tell you if you can move. So you gotta make, but I also can't tell you that you're not gonna live there for 5 years. You can tell me, are you gonna move in a year or two? Do you plan to move in a year or two? Because then we should run some numbers, right? I mean, that's fair. You should always do the right thing by them. So if they're planning on moving in a year, trying to sell them a house is probably not good for anybody. It's not gonna help you, it's not gonna help them. So like, let's have that conversation and talk about what that looks like. Unless maybe you could show them how they could rent it in a year or 2 years for that higher rent, right? I mean, you could do that. But the reality is if somebody's out coming to me and asking me about buying a house and only staying there a year, I'd probably have a different conversation. Say, are you planning on using it as an investment property and passive income? Because that's a great idea. And let me tell you why that's a great idea. But if you're not planning on doing that and you want to resell it, probably it's not gonna make sense. So, and that's just reality. So that's qualifying your A, B, and C buyers. They're just not they're not A buyers. Any other thoughts on that? Rachel, I have no time frame here, so I have no idea where we're at in time. My phone's back there, and so you can wave at me or something. How much time we have?
I think we really plan an hour,
Yeah.
but if you're willing to stay.
Are we at an hour?
Everyone else is willing to stay, I mean, I know you guys have to stay and stuff, so,
Are we at an hour?
almost.
Okay, I thought we were. I
About
felt like
6
we were.
minutes.
I still have a lot more material. You guys can stay, and I'll go through it if you'd like. You're not gonna hurt my feelings if you need to go and you have an appointment. I'm gonna send you the slides if you put your emails down with the sign-in form that has all the notes and all the topics and all the stuff on it, and I'll send you the scripts and stuff like that too. So, but I'll stay and I'll keep going.
That was a question on the
Yeah.
Zoom too. I was just gonna check the Zoom one more time to see if they can have the slides.
Oh, yeah, I'll give them the slides. If you
Awesome.
can get the names off of there, then.
Yeah,
we'll
we
send
did
it
a
all to
sign
them.
in list, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, okay. So we've already talked a lot about this, and becoming a local economist of choice. And this is a real easy way when you're talking about buyer reluctance too, if you can memorize this. It's also from James Shaw: acknowledge, isolate, address, and close. Yes, I hear you that you're concerned about the market changing. If I can explain to you why the market is not the issue, and I can tell you how we can get a home for you, are you ready to go today? So isolate that issue, address the issue, ask them to move forward. This is a fear closing tactic. Does that make sense? Analyzing seller needs and pre-qualifying them. So there's suggested questions to ask. I'm gonna leave them there, you're gonna get the slides, okay? So these are things for you guys to walk through when you do your consultations. So we talked a little bit about buyer consultations. I asked who was doing that. You all should be doing that. You need to start doing that, and here's how you do it. Bring them into a room, go through that list of questions of what do you need, what are you looking for, what are your top 10 things when looking for a house, okay? What are you pre-approved for, all of those things. And then you say, okay, let's do an MLS search together. Put it on your screen, do the MLS search. What do you think you're gonna see when you do the MLS search that it says that they want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house for $200,000? Right, they're gonna see 0 houses for sale, or, yeah, 0 houses for sale. So you just took them from being here to being here in reality. And you walk them through changing this, and here's what we actually can get. So when you go out, what is the likelihood that they're more prepared to make an offer and that they understand what the market is? They know that there's nothing else out there. They know what their inventory looks like.
I always quote the number of active listing on the market, they just like, that's it?
That's it. Walk it through, show it to them, let them do their own search. We all take what they want. Oh, well, which one to search? We'll send it to you today. No, schedule a Zoom, do the search with them. Because how many times do they do the search? Do you do the search and then they send you something from Zillow or Realtor that they saw? Every time, right? Right? This is the MLS. Explain to them what the MLS is. Explain to them that Zillow is the MLS. They literally, Zillow's sending it, they're getting it from the MLS the same way we get it from the MLS, the same way Realtor's getting it from the MLS, everybody's getting it from the MLS. But we update more quickly. So if you see it on Zillow, and I call and you send it to me and I tell you it's not available, it's because they didn't update quickly enough. You know, I've got search and getting everything that's available. Do it on Zoom with them, let them choose it and let them do it. pricing homes in a shifting market. Basically, you're in the price ahead of the market, which is hard, really, really hard. So who's got tips and tricks on pricing right now? Anybody?
Don't be the most expensive home in the neighborhood.
Don't be the most expensive home in the neighborhood. How many of you are pricing under what you think it'll sell for? That'll change. That's gonna change a little bit with the shift.
I try to go with price value, what I think it's gonna be.
What you think is gonna actually come in at now. And it's really hard when you have a seller who still wants to go up here. Trying to convince them of how many offers you'll get if you go down here. Showing them the days on the market report and have some samples of that for you coming up, I think. And what reductions look like when they sit on the market is gonna be super important. But this is a good one, and this will be in there if you guys wanna use it. I mean, it's a seller's market. Who knows what a seller's market is? How many months of inventory is a seller's market? Less than 6. Really, more like nowadays, less than 4.
Yeah.
4 to 6 is a little more balanced. Over 6 to 7 is a buyer's market. This is what pricing looks like in each market, right? So right now we're still here, but we are quickly moving here. This process takes how long? To go from a seller's market to a buyer's market? 10-ish years, typically. We're a little long this time, but in average, historically, it's about 10 years. The shift is quick, lightning quick. So when I asked you if you felt it in the last month or 2, that's why you feel it in the last month or 2. We've been talking about it for about 4 years because we were at the 10-year mark, and we knew it was going to change. Now all of a sudden we're shifting. That to here is going to be super quick. Nobody knows how quick, but it's typically within a year, pretty quick. I don't think it's going to be that quick this time.
I see it really quick the last month.
The last month has made a huge difference.
Every week.
Last month has been a big difference. So we went from 2 days on the market to 3 days on the market, which doesn't seem like that much, but it is a 50% increase. Okay, so percentage-wise, it's 50%. I think we will see the next numbers come out 1st of August. I think you will see a couple more days, either 4 or 5 average days on the market. It'll be going up a little bit more. But this is a great slide to give them. It's very simple. It's very easy to understand. Talk to them about what a buyer's and seller's market looks like. Talk to them about that before you show them the days on the market slide, so they understand that. That alleviates fear as well. When they go, okay, a buyer's market, a seller's market is this. We don't get to a crash unless there's going to be a buyer's market. That's going to be the crash. We're still at 3 days of inventory, so we got a ways to go. Still got a pretty good ways. So, falling markets, your sellers have these 3 options. Price behind the market means they're not ever going to sell it. So behind the market doesn't mean underneath the market. It means you're too late. You're not reacting quick enough. So right now it means pricing high. Right? Buyers have no faith in the current market. We're playing into that fear when we do that. Okay. Pricing out the market means being overpriced for what the market's going to pay at the minute. Buyers in a shift are shopping for a good deal. We all know that's happening. And they're hunting for the lowest price. This is going to become a little easier for them to do. So they're actually going to be able to find some deals again. And that's the good part. We actually need that a little bit. Pricing ahead of the market means dropping the price below what the market will pay at the moment. So this is the slide I was talking about. This is really, really good to show your sellers. So number of price reductions. We get 0 price reductions. We're going to sell for an average. This is from National Association of Realtors. We're going to sell for 1% over. We don't ever reduce the price right now. If we reduce the price 1 time, average is 7%. If we reduce the price twice, it's 10%. If we reduce 3 times, it's 12%. When they want to go in high, ask them how they feel about that. That's really important. It's probably my favorite slide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's super powerful when you're talking pricing with the seller. Super powerful. And I'll give you this. So again, we talked about most of these questions. Talk to them through self-discovery and allowing them. Look at every single one of those questions. It's got a question mark on it. Questions. Here's your seller price reduction strategies. According to NAR, price reduction needs to be made after a home has been on the market 10 showings and no offers. That's when you reduce your price. I'd go even quicker right now. So I have a house coming soon on Thursday, and I told them if we didn't have any offers by Friday night, we're reducing Saturday morning first thing. Things for overcoming buyer reluctance, and we talked about a lot of these things. Will be in your slides. Typical transactions. So that's kind of what you were saying. Tell me about what's going to happen if this is your conversation in your slide for that. Right house, right buyer, if it isn't in the best interest of your client. Questions, thoughts on any of that?
I think for seller, I think I mentioned something fear really that the seller really on the fence so far. This is your last chance to get your hot price before it comes.
Yeah, and we're almost behind it, like almost behind it at this point.
Exactly.
And the only way to get the hot price right now is to come in under what you think it's gonna sell for and do it quick. That's it. I mean, it's to list quick. That's it. That time is past. So Jason Abram says the best salespeople know the right words to move people into action. So learning your scripts is super important. Script practice is super, super important. I also say a dream written down with a big pencil. So putting your dream in your goal onto paper, you ran your numbers. I want you all, and this is just for you, to write down what your goal is for the next 6 months of the year. Because we are halfway through the year. So if you came in here and you're not at your goal, not ahead of your goal, you know it's shifting. Put your number down. I'm not gonna see it, but you're gonna write it down and know it was in this class. And if I see you in the next class, I'm gonna ask you about it. And if you're on track, and I do that for accountability purposes. You need to think about what your goal is and you need to write it down. It also puts in the back of your brain. So when all of you walk out here, because I know that agents do this, and I'm an agent, so when I say this to you, I'm saying this to me as well. I say what I'm gonna do, and I get something out of the class, and I walk out, and then I put my notebook in like the desk, and I forget that it's there, and then I don't do it. If you write it down, it literally puts it in your brain in a different way, and plants it there. So every day when you are supposed to be doing your lead generation, and you're not, you're gonna feel just a hint of guilt. Because a guilt to yourself because you're not achieving it. So I want you to write it down. You have 6 months, well, not even full 6 months at this point. When I wrote this class, it was 6 months.
Question.
Yes.
Could you give me, I guess, a few examples of like your favorite examples of inspiration? Because I'm pretty sure I'm the newest one in this class. I only have my license for about 2 weeks, so I'm still taking in a lot of information.
So, okay, I will give you my examples, but I guarantee you they all know them already. So I'm gonna ask you guys, what are, as the most experienced, with 17 and 18 years in business in this room here, what are your best lead generation sources?
Don't cost you money yet.
Sphere of influence and staying in contact with them. Phone calls, birthday cards, home anniversary cards. See something on Facebook, pick a phone call, and go, hey, saw your kid won the race today, congratulations. Whatever. That kind of stuff.
Personal stuff, yeah. So I will tell you this, as a new agent, I wish somebody had told me this. If you are buying leads, your conversion ratio is about 1 to 2% on average, 5% if you are the best scripter, okay? The best scripter. 5% is the highest I've ever seen. And I mean, the highest I've seen at the highest level of analytics. 1 to 2% you're gonna convert a paid lead. Your sphere is more than 20%. So everybody comes in and they want to buy leads. They want to buy leads because they don't want to go to their friends and family and ask for business. 1 to 2% versus 20%.
What do you mean by buying?
Through, there's
Advertising.
advertising, Facebook campaigns, all of that kind of stuff. All of that stuff is a supplemental piece when you already have a solid business where you're already working your database. And the number one thing you can do is grow the names in your database. That's it. I mean, grow the names in your database. So where can I go today to make me the most people possible? On a Sunday, I can go to church and I can go to Sunday school And I can go
Open
to
houses?
Hyde Park Farmers Market in Cincinnati. I can go to open houses. You can host them. Yeah, have them for other agents. Fantastic way of lead generating. But you need to build those friends and families. So when you're putting those names in, you actually have to follow up on them and they have to become relationships. So 3 hours of every day have to be lead generating. When I say that, I don't mean just calling. I mean, if you spend 3 hours getting deep and personal with 10 people, 5 people, that's better than cold calling 100 people. So wherever you can get to know somebody deeper is where you need to spend your time. So don't put them in there and not follow up with them, not stay in contact with them, which is a failure that we do a lot of times, is we just think of mass numbers. You can buy, I can give you 500 names, you can just go call realty resource and buy your entire neighborhood. But it's a waste of money if you're not having a relationship with them, because you're still gonna convert them at 1 to 2% at best, and only if you're hitting them 36 times, it's gonna cost you money. So build your database with people you know, deepen those relationships, 10 phone calls every day, 10 comments on social media every day, 10 handwritten notes every day. Yeah. So that's the formula in it, and hang with it, because it is hard for the first couple of years. Very hard. So how many of you have been in more than a year? Any advice for the first year?
Don't give up.
Take bold.
Take Bold. Bold has been phenomenal. I agree with that 100%. Bold is a fantastic. If you can afford Bold, and there's Bold scholarships, if you can't afford it, go your first day, it's free. Even if you can't afford to take the rest of the course, go your first day, it's free. And you will walk out of there with something. You will walk out of there with some sort of knowledge you did not have. It is phenomenal. And they do offer scholarships too. So make sure you ask and tell your need. So that's really important. Bold is, that's a great one, especially with it coming up. Average, I think, is 2 deals closed in Bold per person. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's it, really. Talk to every single person you know and tell them about real estate, and don't think you're selling them. Just don't be selling them. I mean, just have the conversation. And
That's my last question would be, earlier when you mentioned our sponsorship, what would be like a good example?
so some people do like PTA events for schools. Some people sponsor, like, I mean, I did a booth at the Home and Garden Show. You can sponsor just events that are out, maybe something in your neighborhood. You can have something where you're the sponsor and they'll give you a couple of minutes. I've known art shows where you sponsor the beverages, you know, and then they give you a couple of minutes.
Are you involved in sports at all?
Sports.
Go with your passions.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what you just said.
100%, yeah.
You know, it was basketball. I just actually did a hockey players business meeting last
Yeah,
night.
fantastic.
Used to be here, but-
So we did some masterminding and we came up with a really good one, for somebody who they were putting out banners for like a little T-ball team. They did the banner and the jerseys and whatever, for that. And she was like, you know, I'm doing it, I don't know how to broach that conversation with the parents of like, hey, I'm the sponsor, hey, I'm doing this, and like being in front of them. And I said, what if you did like a little blog every week about their kid? Like, we have the star player of the week. And so go over to the parents and be like, hey, I do a blog each week, I'm the sponsor of the team. And I do a blog each week, because I'm also a real estate agent, about who the star player of the team is this week. Could I take a picture with your son with the banner? And can you tell me a couple of quick facts about it? And she's like, oh my gosh, when I put she's like, it was blown up. So now everybody's wanting to be the star player of the week. And so we've got her now doing themes, like they're little kids. And so she's like blacking out their eyes. She's making them tough. She'll put like fake bruises on them and stuff like that. And she'll like pose them, and it's fun and hilarious. But follow your passion in what you love and find something there. So what do you love to do?
A lot, track and field, the gym.
Yeah.
Photography.
Gym sponsorships, big.
Now with the sponsorships, when you say that, when I think of sponsorships, I think of like throwing money into like a team or corporation.
Yeah.
Or do you mean something?
That can be it. I mean, you can throw money. So here's what I would say about that. If you don't get FaceTime in front of the crowd to say, to introduce yourself, you're not getting anywhere. And so again, it's like putting something on Facebook. You're not getting anything back for your sponsorship. I'm not gonna call you typically because I saw you on some banner at the end of the field. But I am gonna call you if you're in the stands screaming for my kid to make a home run or something like that. And so if you're sponsoring something, you should get a couple of minutes of FaceTime. So if you're sponsoring a game and you're bringing snacks, or you're sponsoring the end of the year party, ask to say, introduce yourself for 2 or 3 minutes. So hi, I'm Shannon. I want to give you thank you for the opportunity to interact with the kids. They're amazing. I've never seen kids that have so much gifts. And I just want you to let you know that I'm in real estate. If I can help you buying, selling, please let me know. If not, maybe this can refer me to. Thanks. That's it. That alone will get you some referrals and some business. People come up and be like, yeah, I was thinking about, what do you think the market's going to do? You think it's a bubble? Then we're going to go back to these conversations. So, but you don't have to always spend money. So that's the thing I want you guys to always remember is lead with revenue. That's what we say in Colorado, lead with revenue. If you're making money at it, lead with it, and you can put more money to it. But in the beginning, there's a lot of money coming out. And so it's okay to just say, I'm having a guys' night out. Everybody meet me at the brewery up the street, and let's try the new monthly beer that's coming out. And just you be the organizer of that event. And that's okay too. The point is that you're trying to make connections with people that are attending. Okay. So you can sponsor, cupcakes. You can sponsor, I sponsor a lot of wine. Sponsor a lot of wine. But whatever it is your thing. And so you might sponsor a class at the gym. Maybe there's a physical fitness class or something like a test or something that they do. And they give you a couple of minutes. That would be good too. So get some FaceTime. Whatever you do, get FaceTime. That's the only thing that I would leave with this. Don't just sponsor the sponsor.
And I would mention to keep your eyes open for opportunities. I had a sponsorship opportunity, all of a sudden it presented itself, and I had no idea. My granddaughter was on a softball team, and we were getting ready to go to the last game, and it's at the end of the week. My daughter mentioned, that's it, it's the last game. I said, wait a minute, what about a party? What about medals?
Correct. So I think
And
that's
she
what I
said,
to make this better.
oh, they didn't say anything about that. I said, those girls need something. So I said, I'll sponsor it. And I didn't even know what it was gonna cost. I had to find a place to do it. I found a family-owned business to do it. So I have a relationship with them now. Yeah, it cost me $50. That was it. And I got FaceTime with everyone, gave them all materials and magnets with helpful information on homeownership that they can keep on their fridge. And they all
That's
remember
fantastic.
the lady that they didn't know before, but she's the grandma. Oh, so welcome to the grandma club. So sometimes they can present themselves just quick like that and just do it.
Yeah, so here I'm going to talk to you about sponsorship. Okay, let me just tell you this, since you asked. I'm a coach with I Love Coaching. If anybody wants to coach, I'd love to talk to you. I also own Cyberbackers for the region, and if anybody needs virtual assistance or leverage, I'm the person to talk to. So we have 3,000 virtual assistants helping real estate agents all over the world. Love to help you. That's how you do sponsorship. So if you have questions, sincerely, I'm here. I'm going to send you the slides and the material. I hope you got something out of it. If I can help you in any way, that is free, seriously. And I love to help you. I love being in your office and seeing you. It's really truly a gift. So.
Love this, thank you. Love this, thank you.
Okay, thanks guys. I appreciate it. I will be back a couple more times. I have other classes to teach. If you haven't done agent financials, you should do agent financials. We go by the book. Agent financials is very clear. If you do not know what to spend on advertising and you don't know what to spend on things and you're like, I don't know whether I should spend enough. Am I spending enough? Am I not spending enough to get where I need to go? We actually give you just the numbers there. So that's a great class now. And it's coming up. They will have the dates for you, but we have a few other classes coming up. So but good. I'm here if you need me.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks for being a great class. I don't know where the sign up sheet is. I want to make sure I have all the information.
And I got everyone that was on the line, I got their names down.